Hey, so I'm here with Arturo Castillo of Imperial College in London. We're at the Food Packaging Forum. So today you gave a talk called Food Packaging, Health and Environment. How did we get here? And what questions should we ask when looking for a way forward? Can you give us a little bit of a summary of your talk?
The first thing was to see, take a step back and really wonder how did we end up with all these problems. And then the other thing that I was trying to do is to bring together this parallel of what's going on with plastic pollution in general, and then to see whether we can ask some of the same questions to actually tackle all the problems with food packaging. Okay. So those were the three things I was trying to do. And with the how do we get here part of the talk, I was looking at, how do we develop all these production systems that are actually developing quicker than we can understand them. And sometimes what you get is lots of products that then create a demand, create prosperity, then more people buy them, then you create more demand, and then that goes in a very, very rapid circle.
How do we design our way out of that?
So first step is to understand all the drivers.
Yep.
So what were the things that we were doing that we were too quick with, and then understanding that we're building into the system a lot of complexity.
Yep.
And also we've been living in a world where when we design products and make them, that is a completely different community to the community that takes care of the products once we don't want them and they become waste. What we need to understand is that those two different worlds need to talk more to each other, and actually,
right.
They have different investors, different scientists that look at them, different communities entirely, and we're not going to be able to design better products unless we have some of the stakeholders, not only communication. I would argue that some of the stakeholders that are on one side of the equation also need to sit on the other side of the equation, and vice versa.
And what's an example of how that would look?
For example, when a company that designs products also designs the way in which they're going to take the material back, because they might want to think about selling a service rather than selling you stuff.
Right. Okay.
Because
so be invested in that process. Be invested in the full life cycle of the. Okay. So not only putting a product out there, but also having a business of taking that product back. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and people talk about just recovering material, but that usually is difficult. Just recovering material for the sake of recovering material. I would just say just center everything around the service.
Right.
If you wanted to provide food preservation, or if you wanted to provide the ability to wash clothes or the ability to make coffee, focus on that service, and then all the materials, treat them as something that can be leased, that can be rented, that can be, you can pay a deposit return for it, something that keeps coming back to the person that can refurbish it,
right.
and then you don't have to recycle chemically or physically, but that will only work if you center your actual business on providing the service.
Not saying this is what we could do and we're designing our product to fit into that system. You have to actually design the system.
Yeah, or also when you say, well, we're designing something that we believe is benign, but it's somebody else's job to actually figure it out. And somebody else will buy a recycling machine and they'll figure it out, because we gave them a very nice material, so it's up to them.
Yeah.
We will still be in two different worlds. Whereas if we say, well, actually, some of those materials or some of those trays or containers or whatever it is going to be coming back to me because I'm providing the service,
right.
then you would take a completely different view. And
exciting.
Yeah, these are called product service systems, and there's a
product service systems.
Yeah, there's a whole literature on those.
Okay.
But and also some people also get carried away with everything has to be a product service system. It doesn't apply to everything.
Okay.
But there are many things that lend themselves.
What doesn't it apply to?
Smaller things that by necessity are, can only be used by one person, or that really need to be ephemeral, like a napkin, for example. You cannot really keep reusing that too many times. Or also, if you're going to do something like a medical implant, so that it's more difficult. But whereas if you do things like trays, or if you do things like the circuit panel of a telephone or a photocopier or a printer, you can still recover those materials. You don't need to burn them or bury them. You can completely refurbish a new printer, and when it's getting close to the end of its life, the provider would give you a new one, but it's actually refurbished from using materials and panels and something else that had been in a previous machine. And you're not being at the end holding all that stuff that you then need to pay for somebody else to come and get rid of it for you.
Does that make you excited?
Yes, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this. Yes, there are lots of challenges.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those things that is much easier said than done. But yeah, we need a change. We need to understand how we got here, and then try to start making the changes, because it's going to take some time. And so that, I think, is exciting. And I believe that 20 years from now, we will look back and say, yeah, that's remember the days when people used to buy 2-liter bottles of washing up liquid, because now there are models like you can buy compressed content, like in tablets, and then you take that home and you add water, and then so you don't actually own. You need to own every time another bottle, and you need to go and carry liquid from the supermarket to your house.
Oh, well, thanks, Arturo. Thanks for talking with us. And where can people follow your work and find out more?
Well, actually, we have a Twitter page, oceanplastic_IC.
Okay.
And that's the Ocean Plastic Solutions Network, which I lead. And yeah, that's a good place to start.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.